Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode of the vlogs. It's time to get on the water here in Brindleys. Same 36 that Robo has on the back. And that is us finished the first session and the last session for today. A lovely half day today, or maybe even a quarter day if one may say. Lovely paddle, and then we get to go visit, hopefully, there's a cafe with Scalextrics this afternoon. How do you say Scalextrics? Scalextrics. See? You can't say it. How do you say Scalextrics? Let me know in the comments below. I want to also make a video of how many times can you say purple burglar alarm in an hour? Let me know in the comments below if you would be interested in seeing that video. Catherine, how was your session today?
It was really, really good. Got a bit of a tan.
Are you excited for your afternoon off?
Yes.
Are you coming to the Scalextrics Cafe?
I might get an invite to the Scalextrics Cafe, I don't know.
Oh yeah, everyone's invited. And how was the session?
It was nice. It was pretty leisurely, which is nice. And Robson was laying down a pretty mediocre rhythm.
That's what I specialise in. Average to poor rhythm.
That was good.
Barney looks like he wants to say something. Barney, what are you saying?
I don't have anything to say. I think I was more relaxed today. Less stressful.
So Barney has had a little bit of a tendency, at least for the whole yesterday, he was getting quite stressed. Today he's been chilled out. Good work, Barney. But now it is time to fuel up after the session and see about trying to get to that cafe. And as always, remember, as has been said, food is fuel. And we are almost at the end of the half day or the quarter day today. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get out to the Scalextrics Cafe to have a little bit of something a bit different, because remember, variation is a big key to motivation. But obviously, as you can tell from the title, you guys know we're talking a little bit about mental health today or this evening, because it is one very important thing, not only on training camp, but also just in general. So this week is Mental Health Awareness Week in the UK. It's a different time in the US. But, well, it doesn't matter if it's Mental Health Awareness Week or any sort of day like that. It is always important, because what you're thinking, what's going through your head can really impact you, whether it is in training or just in general in day-to-day life. So mental health for me is really important when it does come down to training, when it's getting on at those difficult times, when you're on a hard erg, when you're trying to push the limits of what you're doing, when you're really trying to put down some yam. Your mental state can really affect what you're doing and can really give you confidence. But like I said, it's not all about just mental health and training. Mental health can affect everything, every aspect of your life. And for me, I'm not always up. I'm not always shouting to the rooftops about food is fuel, about yamming on it, shouting, yeah, buddy. There are times where I have to sit back and think, kind of, what am I doing? And that is with everyone and everyone you see as well, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Instagram. Not everyone is perfect. Everyone has their days where they either make a mistake, have a failure. I've tried to make sure that you guys are following on my journey, whether it is the good times when I'm pulling PBs, when I'm doing good things out there, and when it's the so-called bad times where we might lose a race or have went out for a PB and not quite hit that marker. But I've just tried to show you guys that life is not just a straight path. There can be downs, there can be ups, and they can really affect your mental health. And it's trying to make sure that those times, whether they are bad or they are good, that you can control those times. And if you are struggling with sort of what's going on in your head, then for me it is really good. So I have you guys, I have the camera, I can get my thoughts out. Sometimes I just talk to the camera, and that in itself is a really good thing. I also use sport, I use rowing to really get the thoughts out there, to have a break from things. So I go out in the water and nothing else matters. It's focusing on taking the next stroke or getting to the next marker. Some days it is all about just having a break from things outside of life in general. But again, for me, since I row so often, sometimes on the flip side, it is about being off the water is a break from actually rowing. So it is a balance for me since I row so often, but sometimes it's about finding that little bit of an escape, if you will. So sometimes, like I had a break in, was it February? I took a weekend away and just to get away from sort of Henley, get out the bubble and just have a change of scenery. And like I said, variation can really change things up. Can it change your sort of your mental, your outlook on things, and just give you a bit of rest. And sometimes that's all you kind of need to have a little bit of a reset and then plow on forward in a different manner than you may have not been seen before. But also, if you are struggling, then it is, obviously I'm not an expert, but if you are having any sort of struggles, then it is really good to talk to someone about it, whether that is your best friend, whether it is your coach, or whether it is someone you don't know and you've set up an appointment with them. But it is all about getting sort of the words out there. Like I said, I can get the words out there by talking to you guys, by talking to the camera, but other people aren't so fortunate in that respect. So maybe it is talking to your friend in the boat, or your friend out the boat, or a colleague, or whatever it is. But I think that's all I'm going to say about. But that will be it for today's episode. Just a little bit about mental health and how important it really is. It can really, really affect just everything in daily life. And it obviously affects me as well, because like I said, just because I'm posting videos and post stuff on Instagram doesn't mean that I'm any different from anyone else. And just because someone has millions of followers doesn't mean they're any better or any different than anyone else as well. We are all human. And we all have our struggles, and we all have our ups and downs. But hopefully you enjoyed that little bit of a chat. Hopefully you enjoyed. I've been experimenting a little bit with the camera stuff out here in Banyoles. And as always, Yam Squad, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button and have a good one.